Well, we're back from Unite the Light and bathing in the radiance. Vex, Scott, you smell radiant.
I'm always smelling radiance, even from miles away. But speaking of radiance, we're talking about 5D perspective. What is that? Coming up next on Leading Out Loud.
I don't just talk stuff and repeat stuff. I'm living this stuff.
And you can thank me for covering your astro.
Leading out loud. Leading out loud. We're leading out loud.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Leading Out Loud, the shift show that takes all things spiritual, but absolutely amounts to nothing. I'm Sensei Christopher Witecki, the sensei to SeriousStory.com.
And I'm Scott Cruz, psychic medium and mentor with ScottCruzPM.com. Christopher, how are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you, sir. I am at the end of our Unite the Light extravaganza. I'm still in Nashville, Tennessee, taking a couple days for downtime.
Downtime, interesting. So how is that downtime serving you?
I don't know. I'm at fucking work right now, so you tell me.
Because you have plenty of downtime.
We want to thank
too.
all of our viewers who continue to watch us anyways, support us, and everyone who joined us at Unite the Light. I want to thank you too for coming and watching. It was quite a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I did a little cameo during the break, so I'm sure the two people that were not eating lunch saw it. So it was really great. But yeah, the speakers are fantastic too, and it was great energy. Intimate is still intimate. Sometimes is needed, right, for intimate, settings. So it felt very, very vibrant.
Great, I felt it was too, and we'll pick up that topic here after we play a lightning round. We're going to play a lightning round, brother. Now, this is where we exploit your psychic abilities and throw a topic at you to see what comes up first. All right. So we'll be doing a psychic lightning round. I'll be naming something, a topic related to 5D Earth, and you tell us like a Rorschach what's the first thing that comes to your third eye. Are you ready?
All right, let's go. Let's do it.
That was a huge delay.
Are you
All
delayed?
right.
Because I'm on time. Maybe
No,
maybe
just the answer took a
wire.
minute. Yeah. I was like, "Are you ready?" And then it took like good 20 minutes before you answered. It's all good. Oh, you even know the meaning of downtime? Yes, Alma, I do.
I think.
All right, here's
I think
our first
you're delayed
thing.
with crap internet.
Oh, really? I might be delayed because I'm.
Yeah, you're delayed.
Damn, that sucks. All right, so do we have any theme music director? Oh my God. No, is that a no?
We didn't prepare for that. No,
Okay,
we don't got
great.
it today.
He's like digging
we'll
through
do it now.
stuff. Well, there's Angel.
There it
Oh,
is.
there we go. That's it. That's it, dude. Good job.
Just
Okay.
a little lower.
Yeah.
Little lower.
Okay, so here's the first one. You ready, Scott? Is your third eye focused?
Okay, let's do this.
Has Earth ever been in 5D frequency before?
Yes, actually. And the time that comes to mind is during the time of Egypt when they were building the pyramids. So, but again, it's more about the eye of the beholder. So there's been more of a collective, people that have been in 5D perspective. So, yeah, many times.
Oh.
It's been a long time though.
What's the first word you describe 5D is like?
Soul body. That's the best thing that can come up to me with 5D.
What was
Soul
it?
body.
Soul
body.
Okay, interesting. The next question. Will we in this lifetime embrace 5D?
In fragmented pieces. I think a lot of people are embracing that, and I think there's like a dichotomy where some won't. So, but how else are we going to know we're in 5D if we don't see the opposition? So yes, and there'll be those that don't.
What's the opposition? Negative 5D?
Negative 5D, yes, exactly. But no, it's more like 2D, 3D,
And here's the final question. The first thing that comes to your third eye, what is stopping us from raising our vibration to 5D right now?
Oh, judgment. That's the main thing for me is judgment. Yeah, because I think judgment is the opposite of acceptance, which is love.
Yes, I'd agree with all those answers. I think there's times, I believe that there's times when we actually are in 5D. I mean, we we were in 5D last year at Unite the Light. Our audience was in 5D this year, for sure. They were just beaming and smiling like tourists. I wasn't so much.
You
Probably
were
because I was in judgment.
Because there's so much you had to put on, so you're being critical and the pressure and right.
this year was, I mean, this is the step 2 year of Unite the Light. So it was very emotional. I had to stay grounded for me. And then I had to, I had to just hold the emotional space for everything. So it was a little more tough. But I think it went more smoothly with my performance and stuff than it had last year. I mean, I felt better about everything I did on stage.
Well, I'm sure people who didn't see behind the scenes were experiencing, the wonders of such. You're dealing with all the backstage crap. It's gonna be very tense.
We had a lot of tech issues. I guess we'll talk about Unite the Light now. It's like we had a lot of tech issues that came up ultimately. So we just had, we ended up delaying for like an hour and a half on the first day. And everyone who was online was totally awesome. Everyone in person was totally awesome. They literally came back and said, we're so glad it was late because we got to meet everybody and talk to people. So it turned into a social hour. For us, we were just sweating bullets, in the sense of like, make it work, just internet stuff. So I think it was actually ordained by Spirit because it turned into something better. And for me, the message was, okay, we need some more social time in this program. But I was really happy. I mean, did you watch the first day? What'd you catch?
I did. I had to because I had to spectate on it. So yeah, so I did. I watched. Especially I forget their names, so I apologize. But who's the music guy? The music guy, the sacred geometry guy. What's his name again?
Sacred geometry guy.
Music does the whole thing with mathematics. Robert something. Really?
Blank on that. Well. You're talking about Robert Edward Grant.
Robert Edward Grant.
Right.
My boy was going to say Russell. I'm like, that's not Robert Edward Grant. Just came to me. Okay,
gotcha. I went blank on that for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, but he does because he does like math. He does the whole thing with sacred geometry. He does the thing with like mathematics, and he's a music composer and all that. So, but he's just saying a lot of things too about he said the same thing I always say too about that sense, the opposite of love, right? And judgment. I'm like, oh my god, I've been saying that for decades because it's true. It's not so much fear, and of course, judgment spawns from fear. So, I like what he said. A lot of the depths of certain aspects of that, and the wonderful man who does provides the housing was a wonderful attribute because I think there's a lot of people. A lot of light workers that do things behind the scenes like that don't get the recognition. So I think it was great that you had him on.
Thank you. Robert O. Grant was amazing. I agree. He was. We did a pre-interview because he was in Egypt, actually discovering stuff at the time. It couldn't go in live. He just didn't want to. I agreed. After the tech we had, I'm glad we did not. We passed on that live feed and took the chance. But he turned out to say things that I've always said. It's like based on self-love. To me, he was like an older brother. Kind of he's got a Scorpio rising, so he comes off as kind of serious, like kind of, then he really, he's a step 25 Taurus, so he's high vibration, high spiritual. The whole science thing is new, and according to his chart, this is new. He's always been more spiritual in past lives, and this has been new. But he's just cool. He's just, and he lives actually in Southern California, so I'm hoping to work with him again and introduce him to the step system. That was like a brief introduction, but it's really cool.
Like the square root of pi is this, and that's because of consciousness. Like I was just kind of like, here's all the mathematics, and because of that's consciousness. So it was definitely giving you kind of that whirlwind of intellect. And I used to be huge into like diving deep into the quantum physics and the sacred geometry and things of the mathematics of reality. So it kind of was speaking my language to a certain degree too, and connecting with all that. So
yeah, and he blew my mind by saying there's no such thing as zero. I was like, whoa. Because step zero is the foundation of everything. But then he explained it, and it's because numbers are both a wave and a particle.
Exactly. Right.
Which is crazy. That's just so deep cool.
Because nothingness is an illusion, right? You can't have nothingness. So there's still a figure to zero. So even void is there's still a space for void energy. So yeah, there's nothing but nothing. Everything exists but non-existence. That's why zero can't be nothing.
Right. Actually, zero turns out to be a dip in the wave. So,
right, exactly.
But the wave is still there. There's actually something present. That was fascinating. Right. You're thinking of Mark Wright. Mark Wright was our next interview. Mark is an old school light worker. That was the whole point. We're really trying to show the variety and spectrum of light workers. And he was old school in the sense of there's been people like him like for centuries. They don't get the recognition. And even when they do, it's sort of at the time of the ribbon cutting ceremony. It's just he deserved it. He himself is like a really heartfelt, cool guy. But the cool thing about him that changed people's opinions is that he makes a lot of money. He's a light worker that makes a lot of money. He does very well financially. He doesn't take donations. We had nothing to like donate to because his organization is taking advantage of grants and all sorts of things. So he really shifted our perspective on finance, wealth, and light work. Like you don't have to be poor to be a light worker.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. I mean, I think there's a lot of those light workers are doing quite well for ourselves, but I think it's the passion at the end of the day too, and bringing that value. So I'm glad you had some of that nature that's a light worker that doesn't get recognition. I was like so happy to see him go on the stage. Like this guy needs to be celebrated, so I love that.
Yeah, totally. And then we celebrated musicians. We had
Yeah.
singers and performers, which really upped the vibe of the program. It really just was like a nice to have a singer come on and hear their voices. And they're all great. Their voices were amazing live. I don't know how well it came across in the broadcast, but live it was like goosebumps. And yeah, it was pretty amazing. And we were basically saying like musicians are like the original light worker, like the original people who raise vibration. They're the only ones who raise vibration.
Right here. Yeah.
I mean, they even use musicians when they're going to war. You know what I mean? Like in the old days, we had, it's just to get the soldiers pumped. Like it changes the vibe of things, and it's a thankless job and usually been a poor job. Like musicians haven't really done well until modern times.
Well, next year I plan on performing. Okay.
Oh, that'd be good.
All right.
I don't think
Hello.
it could be this year. Yeah.
Yes,
No,
it will
I'm
be
surprised.
80s. Even though even if that's some 80s stuff, but I have other stuff too. I'd like to do something very kind of, healing and touching, and because I think adding music is a great attribute. We need that. We need more of that. So I think that was great to add that.
Yeah, we loved it. It was good. So we really upped the ante in that regard this year, and so I think it went off really well, and the vibration was really good. And all the singers were from Tennessee. They all had won regional contests and things within the state. So we were really paying homage to
cool.
Tennessee local musicians, and the musicians themselves were cool. There was one guy, Austin. I was just like, have you ever done anything like this before? He's like, no, sir, have never been here. You know what a chakra is? He's like, no, sir.
Is that thing that makes you feel horny? It's like, kinda. One of them can.
Yeah, but his voice his voice was so powerful. I was like goosebumps. I was backstage. It was like really, I love hearing live singing. I just love it. So we're gonna continue with that tradition. We've launched Unite the Music as sort of a subsidiary of Unite the Light. So we'll be trying to unite the music in every state we go to. And next year we announce it's going to be in Palm Springs, just where you moved from.
I read your Rocha Toja. Yeah, I think Coachella Valley is also like a huge hub for music and vibration. It's got an upward vortex in the Coachella Valley, so I think that's a perfect time. And so spring, so May is a good time because it's kind of getting into summertime, but not quite. So I think May would be a good time next year.
Yeah, I think so too. And everyone's old. No one's graduating high school.
Yeah, and then it's like not in season, so we kind of like dead. There won't be so much traffic, so we can get around.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. We'll use different theater. Will not be Gaylord. Okay, thank you. All right. So what else is going on? What else do we want to talk about Unite Light? We just want to say that thank you to everyone who came. I thought that the Board of Light was very cool. It wasn't broadcast, but we did launch the Board of Light, which is a governing board of Unite the Light. And we started talking about principles and protecting light workers, and so that was pretty powerful. And then Sunday was badass, man. I
was going to ask you, yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, we had a channel panel of 3 channels. We had Wendy Kennedy, who channeled the Palladians. We had Rob Gauthier, who channels Archangel Metatron. And then we had Krista Marie Miller, our own Krista Marie Miller, which was channeling, what are you doing? Which was channeling Mary Magdalene.
The Palladians. That's the Palladians
Mary
coming
Magdalene.
in. Yeah.
What's that?
That was the Palladians coming in. You said shining Palladians. So that was the alien coming in. Did you see?
Gotcha. I see what you're doing.
I was just showing the alien. They were coming in.
They thank you
Chris
for that
is amazing. Chris is amazing, by the way, with Mary Magdalene too. So, and so yeah, it sounds like fun. Where can people, catch it? Can people still find it, like watch it? Because I would like to watch the remaining of it too myself.
You can buy the whole thing, still and have access to it. And so that's Unite the Light That Love. However, we're giving our team a break. They need a break, and then we're going to be releasing it, and probably be releasing it in chapters, so you can like rent just 1 or 2, or watch 1 or 2. Because some people just don't have it, have the money. So we had more people watching streaming than we had people in person. People just kind of strapped. Anyways, a couple of things I want to go back to the channel panel. Mary Magdalene talks about how she ended up with Jesus because she first was married to John the Baptist, if you know that. So Mary gave us the down low on that. Mary actually told us why she's called a whore and went into that whole backstory as well. So I was asking some provocative questions of these people. I asked Medatron, did you really get promoted to being an angel, or were you already an angel coming down and then you got thought to be promoted? He said he was already an angel coming down, and because in the books it says that he was promoted to angel. I'm like, really? You get promoted to being an angel? Seriously? So we were kind of debunking some of the stuff. Yeah, it was
cool.
great.
Nice. Very
Stuff
nice.
you'll never get anywhere. Really good stuff. And I really liked Medatron. He was a lot calmer than I used to hearing him on the inside. He's tough.
Yeah.
He was very cool. He told us about how we're the children of angels and that we are angels' descendants and that their job is to manifest what we dream about. So when we wish for something, they make it happen. They're like sort of like the backstage pulling the pulleys and making all the things happen, which is really interesting.
Right. And I always felt like when we're asking assistance from the angels, they upgrade too by being of service to us as well. So there's an interest of wanting to help us too. So so I totally believe there's a team of us that are doing that back and forth. So we both benefit.
We didn't get into the depth of it, but basically angels are responsible for creating the souls of humans. And they are our great grandparents. Basically, we are angels. We are angelic light.
They're oversouls, basically.
Basically, or oversouls, I think.
Yeah, oversouls.
Yeah. What's over that and what's over that? But I just thought it was so cool. And they were talking about what Earth's going to go through next, which is this big shift, which Palladians call the frequency wars. And what we need to focus on, and that we're going through it. Like starting next month, we are going through it. This is an attempt to terrorize humanity and get people to sort of surrender their power, which we've seen before. And they were giving us some tidbits and facts about what to do. Then we had this panel, which was clean living, which was amazing. And that was talking about how our food supply and everything is poisoned and how, what we need to do in order to get back on the path of health. And we had, amazing correspondence there. And then we had our final panel, which is conscious capitalism, which was talking about, how to bring, consciousness into making money and a fusion of both of those. So anyways, it was great. I think people loved it. Everyone told me they walked away with something really compelling and different that they hadn't had before. And then we had this thing called Afterglow, and people loved it. We have some pictures of it, but it ultimately was hanging out. We did groups. We went deep in people's charts. We talked about the future and focusing on things and just ate good food. So I'd say it was a huge success.
Great. See, and that's all that matters, right? At the end of the day, right? So
totally what matters. And yes, and so will you come down from the mountains and perform for us in Palm Springs next year? Yes.
Hell yeah! Well, fuck yeah! I mean, and my mom was asking me. My mom was like, "Oh, how can I watch it?" I'm like, "I don't think it's out yet." So I think that they'll do, the after streaming tickets or something like that. So, so yeah, she was interested in seeing that. So I was asking for me, but also asking, for my mom and also for those who are watching who didn't get to participate.
Totally.
So.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's really fascinating. Record breaking. We're happy. All right, so that's Unite the Light. This would be a good time actually for a commercial. I think you have something to sell, don't you, sir?
Do I have something to sell? Yeah, well, I was going to say about, I have to find my overlay here. Tomorrow's my live show, live readings. I'm doing every Thursday, of course, at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Tomorrow, we're talking about Venus activation. As we know, Mars is doing a trine with Venus tomorrow, the 22nd. So we're talking about what that means to activate that Venus energy, the art of subduction tomorrow. I'll be also doing live readings in conjunction with that too. So come join a great group of people and, get your readings in too. And if you haven't catch last week's, you can definitely catch my the replays if you can't make it. So
yeah, they're totally there. They're good. They're worth watching too.
They're totally there.
No, they're on YouTube. They're all kept there on YouTube. And it's not. It's a live stream. People always wonder, is it saved? Because all the different platforms are different about that. Like you go live on TikTok, it's not saved. You go live on Instagram, it might be saved if they just choose to share with you. YouTube always saved. So yeah, unless they don't want to do it. Well, today we skipped completely. We skipped our weather report.
Well, we can do it now.
I don't know how
that's
it happened.
Fine.
My bad. Yeah, things are inside out. So let's talk about the weather, man. Why don't you do first your psychic report of what you're picking up on energetically? It's been, for me, kind of a weird week because I went through Unite the Light. But what are you picking up, sir, energetically for the collective?
Yeah, look, I personally have been very exhausted for the past 2 weeks. So we're approaching, actually we're in Gemini season actually. So, going forward, I feel, I've been feeling rambunctious, like this kind of, I'm burnt out. When you have that kind of, when you're overly tired, but then you still have energy, but you're tired at the same time. That's what I've been feeling like. But I feel like as things move on within the next week or so, I feel like you're going to really feel more of that intuitive pulse, and it's going to feel a little chaotic. It's like I have logic, but I have intuition. Here's the Gemini twins talking, right? And so I think that you can be kind of beside yourself, but it doesn't have to be a negative, chaotic thing. It could just be very simplistic that you're actually really feeling your intuition louder. You're feeling those intuitive pulses a lot louder. The discernment is a lot clearer. So I want you guys to bank on that and then cross-check your logic and intellect and make sure if that logic and intellect coincides with your intuition and your discernment. So it's time to kind of like see the synchronous aspect of the logic and the intuition. I feel like that's going to be more prevalent moving into Gemini season, but also within the next week or so. But if you're not doing that, you might feel very rambunctious energy, kind of like, push and pull and, burnt out, but energized at the same time. So don't be in that state of beside yourself in that sense. Be clear about what you're discerning, what you're intuitively picking up on, as well as what you're processing intellectually. Make sure it's in sync.
What's the overall big thing that's happening in this Gemini season from your perspective? Like, because the astrology says there's something big happened, but I want to know what you pick up on first.
Well, I've been saying for with May, June, like revelations is kind of like the word I really feel like things coming to light, both the negative and the positive. So I feel like if there are people around you that have been dishonest to you, it's almost like that the mask takes a thud. So I've been saying that for a long time too. So that can cause a lot of chaos for people who maybe been trusting in people that have been dishonest to them or trusting in ideologies or groups and so forth. So that could be like the rug being pulled beneath certain people when that truth is revealed, right? But there's also the positive aspect of those who are maybe doing things that they, in a positive sense and in a loving sense, like that light will be shined on them, so they get recognition too. So there's another aspect to that for me.
Okay. Well, I mean, Serious Joy, Robbie and I just did our Mega Monthly live show. It goes live to free. Everyone in our communities, that's on Serious Joy. It's YouTube if you want to watch it. It's sitting there. And we coined this month actually initiating the new. And the new is spelled N-E-W-K-N-E-W. And what we call the new is that the new way of thinking is that you knew all along. And that's the new. So we think it's kind of cute. Nonetheless, we feel like there's going to be a thoughtware reboot. So I believe in, the combination of brainwashing and patterning is really kind of almost like a software. We call it the thoughtware. Jupiter's been in Gemini for almost a full year now. It moves into Cancer during the Gemini season. And what's really compelling is the sun will not cross Jupiter in Gemini. Will not. That's something it normally does. It's not going to. You know what that means? It means that your new thoughtware will not be backed up by the heart unless you deliberately have it checked in the heart, which means that people will develop their own narratives and they will go off into a freak new direction of their own, basically running their own thoughtware, running their own belief structures. And because the sun never conjuncts Jupiter, we never endorse it with the heart. So this is the split of reality in a sense, where some people be on certain mental paths and other people be on other mental paths. This is when things go ping pong crazy, basically. And we have the frequency wars, frankly. And basically, people who are not running their thoughtware based on their heart can be deceived, convinced by the evidence presented. So this could literally be a time where people believe it because it's on TV, and therefore they go running down that path. This is where humanity gets into a bit of a, very, very uncomfortable period. Now, speaking of uncomfortable, this last week started with the sun conjuncting Uranus on Saturday, and that's actually when our system went down. So the sun conjunct Uranus, and boom, we lost internet. And I thought, wow, well, it'd be cool to have this event on sun conjunct Uranus. I came out to the audience. I'm like, I'm sorry, we will never have a sun conjunct Uranus event again, because this completely failed. Like, everything failed technology-wise. But then again, it updated things. So that was on Saturn Day, if you don't know. I don't know how that felt for people. You can join around 11:32 p.m. Pacific time. 11:32 a.m. Pacific time is a missed thing. Then we had on Sunday, we had Mercury square Mars, and so there's a lot of back and forth with the ego. Sunday also at UTL, Jupiter and Chiron conjoin, sextile at Sep 25. So what's happening is, for this first week of Sun in Gemini, we're basically deciding how we're going to think about ourselves. Like, how do we think about ourselves? That's the ultimate, thing going on. And so how you think of yourself is what sets up all of your thoughtware and all of your reality. If you think of yourself as a loser, you are a loser, and you manifest being a loser. If you think of yourself as great, you are great, and you manifest being great. The crazy thing is, you don't have to actually be great to think you're great. That's how assholes do it. Okay? So you don't have to be truthful. Narcissism comes from this. The fact the mind thinks one thing, even though all the evidence and other behavior proves otherwise. So the most important part of this week is to really come up with a heartfelt look at yourself, to force your mind to follow the direction of the heart, which is who you really are. And as we move through the week, we have Saturn at 29 Pisces, which is like being tested on all of our karma. basically. We actually have this amazing trine between Venus and Mars at 15, Mars at 15 Leo, and Venus at 15 Aries. And what that means is our male and female energy is almost precisely united in Gemini, which is interesting. So we have that sort of thing. We have Jupiter going into on Sunday, May 25th. Saturn goes into Aries this Sunday. So that's going to be the end of Pisces energy for a while and the beginning of a new WeGo. But this all really builds up to the new moon, Scott, which is next Tuesday after Memorial Day. We have a new moon at 6 Gemini, and that basically is you accepting or rejecting the new thoughtware about yourself. So the whole week is really about coming up with what you think about yourself. This is after Jupiter has gone through the sign. And just remember to check your heart, because if your heart doesn't believe in it, it's not who you are.
So the astrology concurs.
With what you say, I don't know. I never look at it as, agreeing or not agreeing with you. I think that, you see stuff that I do. I just know my stuff, astrology.
Well, I say it to be playful because it's basically what I'm saying, because I'm feeling like we're going to be beside ourselves in a sense, have to look at the heart, right? And look at, outdated processing, programming, right? And so to me, it's a revelation or revealing of things. And so I think that the revealing of things will come in the external sources as well in your life as well. So, but that to me is just more insight. That's the ability to look at the duality, right? And so I think it's wonderful. And I think that, I would say my vibes align with what the astrology is saying.
Oh, too. Terrific. Do you feel anything major this month? Like, do you feel any, shocking? Anything shocking? In the month of Gemini, I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying. But, as far as what's been going on, I would say a continuation of shit. You know what I mean? So it's like I think we've already been kind of shocked since 2020. So, the word that comes to mind when you ask me that question is like a divergence. So I think that there might be a wrench thrown in the current, rhythm and trajectory within the collective and politics and governmental things. We're seeing it's been going a certain way. Like a wrench gets thrown in and things like almost pivot. Like, oh, we thought it was going to hell, but it actually isn't, right? And I've been saying that for quite a couple of weeks about May, and the month of Gemini, so to speak, and we're starting to see that Bitcoin is up higher than it's ever been, all-time high, right now. So we're starting to see things taking an actual pivot. So, and I'm not trying to boost any type of politician here, but I just feel like we are in a collective trajectory, no matter who the politician is. And so, I think there's going to be a divergence from what we thought was happening. So it actually feels more like a revelation. And that could put like a different haltering in certain people with negative intentions and a boost for those with positive intentions.
I get the feeling that there's going to be a crisis. Some crisis that I won't hear about till after, but I feel, but it does feel like one thing is steady as she goes. But it appears that there is it feels like the first week in June. This is psychic. I'm looking for the astrology to back it up, but something that traumatizes people. One thing that happened, our ticket sales were much lower for Unite the Light this year. Everything was lower. We talked to the director who comes in and produces our TV. Everything's lower. Mind Valley Spring is lower. Like, people are afraid. And this is the virus. Because from what I can tell, and from people say, there's nothing really wrong with the economy now at all. It's all the projection of what may happen. And so we're already falling into the trap of being terrorized by what someone says and then what someone does. And of course, if everyone stops spending, then it will fall. So we're kind of in this, like, we're starting to explore this reality of how our thoughts become our reality. And I think we're already starting to see where people are falling into, terror in the sense of, projecting the future. And so it just feels like sometime first week in June, there's just some, I don't know what it is. It just feels, technically, according to Wendy, it's the beginning of the frequency wars. So there's a first strike coming up.
So that's what I'm saying. It's a revelation. Like, things will come to light, and again, it will benefit those who've been positive intended, and not for those who have been negatively intended. So that's exactly what I'm feeling. It's like the mask comes off, and so there's going to be chaos for people who've been relying on those systems, so to speak, both figuratively and literally. But I feel like for those who've been in the collective and in tune with the collective, we will be able to rise to help to assist in those times. So for a lot of us, it will be very positive. The light will be shining on us. So when you say crisis, though, to me, I think we've been in a crisis for a long time. So I feel like we've been in a crisis, so many different crises in this season, since 2020. I feel like we're always in a new crisis. But when you say like a crisis, what particularly are you picking up on?
I think some news that people interpret bad and other people interpret as fine. I don't think it's a literal crisis. Again, this is a frequency war. This is about vibes. This is all a mind game. This is a race for your consciousness and your belief structure.
Yes, suppression.
So this is a major takeover, right, of the way people think, and a hijacking of people's thoughts. I mean, people are brainwashed. We all are. I've been brainwashed, by television programming, everything, what I hear in the news. And so those who brainwash are going to pull on the reins, whatever that is,
Yep.
whoever that is. And
Right.
so this is where people, what I feel what it does is forcing people to make a decision.
Right.
Do you believe what you're picking up inside of you, or do you believe what you're told on television?
Right.
And I don't even know the
Right.
narrative. I don't even know what's going on right now. I didn't
Right.
learn about
Well,
the Gulf of
someone
America for a long time.
Right. Well, someone says here, the economy is a disaster. Fact. Well, I mean, it
How,
depends,
how
right?
so?
I mean,
What's the fact?
it depends. Like,
Explain. Like, what's going on? The stock market went down. Well, that happens a lot.
it went down, but it's up again. It's like if we look at trends, these are kind of normal trends. And I like I said before, I believe the market was intensely crashed, so it's controlled. So, but they have now. If you watch the economical news right now and the finance, reports, they're saying saying they don't believe there's going to be a recession. They removed that now, saying they're not forecasting a recession any longer. Right. And so for me, it's like, it's all manipulated, like you said, to get people in fear, to get people, focused on, the lack of things and so forth, so they can boost it up and then raise the economy. So it's all manipulated. So the fact is people think it's Armageddon. That's what I'm saying. It's not Armageddon, guys. Like, we've been going through this up and down, back and forth, these frequency wars for a long time. Are we conscious of that now? That's the difference. And I think, Christopher, when we become more conscious of it, start fighting, then yeah, they're going to fight harder on this too, but I feel like collectively people are waking up to it.
I hope so, because I talked to Wendy and Palladians. I'm like, is it really a frequency war? Isn't it like more of a race? And they're like, no, it's a war. Like literally people trying to hurt people cheating, people pulling fast ones. And I see the comment now from DePuma. Is that what it is? Yeah, DePuma, give me the facts. Like, it's saying it's a fact. Well, what are the facts? Is it? I mean, what's new that I don't know about? Our debt or whatever? I don't know. But I am deliberately avoiding the news. So, I don't know.
I honestly think the economy has always been crappy. So, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. It's the same old rinse and repeat shit, up and down, up and down. And so people get very passionate because they're political parties. And so then that also gives them a perspective. And I think this is just all the collective consciousness spheres manifest. That's what we're experiencing right now. So
seems like it. I mean, I talked to a few people who are like, I can't afford Unite the Light. I'm, worried about money. And I'm like, are you really in a crisis with money? Or are you worried? And they said, I'm worried. I'm like,
right.
Well, shit, you've got money in the bank. So it's like, a stock market panic was because everyone panicked, not because,
right. Because the news.
Yeah,
manipulation.
they said it was JP Morgan. They said he was on the phone all day saying he was on the phone. He was like the big shot. He was on the phone all day making calls, creating the panic. He literally created the panic. That son of a bitch.
Did you see what Trump saying? Like, he was in the Oval Office saying that, like, when it crashed, goes, this one made 40 million today. This one made 1 billion today. Do you see he was actually bragging about his, insiders making so much money on the intentional crash? So it's like, again, it's all manipulation. So, if you pause because of that, they'll keep manipulating even more, and they'll get you in panic. They'll get you to stop buying. They'll get you to keep buying. So we got to keep going with our normal natural flow, and those, again, people will say, Christopher, well, this one's struggling lately. It's like, but that same person was struggling 2 years ago too, or a year ago too. It's like, look at your individual patterns. Don't associate so much with you're being told. Look at your individual patterns, because honestly, like and this is not, I'm not money focused. I just love doing my work. It's like, but my work has been consistent through all of this. And I haven't done anything different. I haven't done anything. I've been doing the same thing, and my work has been very consistent. And there's always little dips here and there, but like, it's been still consistent for me. So people are still buying sessions, and and my clients aren't talking about how they don't have money. My clients are getting jobs, are getting, money's coming in from them. So I've been seeing a lot of movement with my clients in particular. So it doesn't mean because people are suffering that there's a market crash right now, but there's always people suffering, no matter when you look at it to a certain degree. I'm trying to help people to not, to get out of that.
Taurus is always wanting money. I like to make everyone make money. I don't want your money. I want to make money. But yeah, I'm here to be abundant. I mean, one thing that we have all done, really focused into, is like, it's time, everyone should be making money. The earth is abundant. It's not actually depleted. There's a lot of myths out there. If you understand spirituality, we've come down to earth to manifest things, because in heaven, you can't manifest stuff. This is the abundant life. You come down here to make a lot of something. That's the whole point. It's a sandbox. You don't get in a sandbox and just sit there and try to conserve the sand. You make as much in the sandcastle as you can. And when you die, it all blows down. It doesn't matter anyway. So our concepts are really unhealthy about money and lack and all these things. We can go into the whole depth of it. But, the Fed is what's created interest, and it created also the loss of the power of our dollar. It's been the Fed. Ever since we went off the gold standard, they have been creating this inflation. They say, like, our dollar is worth about 3 cents now, all from the being off of a standard like gold. So, anyways, that's kind of boring topic. Let's get into more spiritual stuff. Let's talk about 5D, where there will be no
But that's
money, I think.
that's a perfect lead into that, because again, what is 5D, right? And do you want me to kind of take the lead on that, or you want to take the lead on what that
Take
is?
the lead.
How
No, dive into it. Give the definition.
we're all going to have different ways of, and again, Christopher and I sometimes have different graphic, packaging of what we're saying, but the meat's the same, right? So sometimes I just have a different packaging. For me, 5D is a perspective. It's a broadening of perspective. It's an intuitive awareness. It's seeing beyond the physicality of things and the data that's intertwined with future trajectories, the collective, all of that, and also psychic awareness. So for me, when you have that 5D awareness, the conversation we were just talking about, like before, I would probably buy into everything that was being said, but this is really happening. But as in the 5D, you realize, you see the charade, you see the veil gets lifted, right? A lot of people say the term matrix, or they realize they're in the matrix, and so many different terminologies. So if that 5D conscious, just to begin, we'll dive deeper into different aspects of that after you got your perspective on it, generally speaking, to me is when you're intuitive. You can see through the physical, you can see through the density, you can see how things are evolving, you see how things are projecting, so it is psychic awareness, it is understanding, also intuitive collective awareness as well. So that's where I would start with 5D consciousness, and then we can get into like the different expressions of that too. Just keep it simple.
Well, Medatron talked about 5D actually, which was really cool in our Unite the Light, and he ultimately said that it's a dimension where there is no space time, where you can see all the timelines at the same time, that you understand and see. It's a timeless reality. Now, when I've had like an afternoon with friends and we've been laughing and playing all day, I think I was in 5D. I think we get there for a moment where I can see all timelines. I'm not tied to anyone. I'm in this state of joy, in the state of bliss. And there's not a care in the world. There's not a worry in the world. We've had those moments as children. I think we're in 5D. To me, 5D is like a level or speed of energy and frequency. So if you want to compare it to like birds, a crow would be 3D and a hummingbird would be 5. It's like hummingbird's just it's just got this amazing fast pace to it, and it seems very happy. If you're looking at a hummingbird, I don't know, psychically, when I see a hummingbird, I feel like joy come from it. I feel like happiness. I just feel like, but also a seriousness too, serious joy. But to me, 5D is like a state of being, a level of being, and what's most important about it is apparently we're going there whether you like it or not. Like the Earth is going there. Pleiadians agreed as well. We're going there. It's done. It's done. People just have to go through the experience of the ascension because they have to experience it. That's the whole point of coming to Earth. But it's a done deal. It's going to happen.
Well, that's why I was saying Revelations, because again, when the mask falls off and the filters come off your perspective, you see things what they are. And for many people, it's going to be uncomfortable, right? The rugs and flick to pull beneath them. But I relied on these systems for so long, like I said in the beginning. So yeah, it's going to be, it's tough when the filters come off, because you're no longer using those crutches any longer. And then the crutches become obvious. Oh my gosh, I'm using the crutches. And so, and beliefs are things people defend. It's like life or death, their beliefs. And so we're going to have to deconstruct a lot of those beliefs. And I feel like the collective is almost like forcing that on people, no matter where the avenue is at. And so, yeah, perspective is a level of frequency, right? It's how we're viewing things. And so if you view things in that objective perspective, yes, you're going to be vibrating a different frequency. And you will notice those things, like you said, the hummingbird, you will notice those things that have a higher frequency that bring and share that 5D energy into physical reality, right? Because there's a lot of wonderful things. There's a lot of people, I feel like walk-ins, people like they just sense they're angelic. They just come in for a purpose and they just leave and disappear in your life. And so there's a lot of walk-ins that people come from higher dimensionalities, but more fifth dimensional in the physical state, because I feel like 5D is more accessible from physical reality than say 6 and above. You have to really go into hardcore channeling to access 6, 7, and those are for advanced channelers. But 5D is accessible to all of us right now. So I agree. We're going there.
What's funny? This reminds me of a moment with Mary Magdalene, that Krista was channeling. And Mary said what Jesus' actual mission was. Wasn't that great suspense? Yeah. She said that before Jesus and her, they worked together. She said, I was the masculine, he was the feminine in the relationship. So she basically said, he was my bitch. But she said that prior to Jesus's work, his mission was to help people get to heaven, because people would die and they'd wander the earth forever. They never found the light. Mm-hmm. And they said because they had no light body, and because the Jews and these other religions did not have the stuff that Egypt had. The whole reason why she said the whole reason why Egypt has all these rituals for death, they were training their people what to do about their light body and living forever. They were training them how to go to light. But
That's right.
Jesus was here to actually show us there is a heaven, that we have this other realm, and to look for it when you die, because if you don't know
Right.
about it, it ain't going to appear. So she said
Right.
everyone's wandering the earth aimlessly when they died,
Yeah.
and that it's really just to get people to go to heaven. That was their mission.
And that's what
Amazing.
you asked me. And that's what you asked me before. Is like, has the Earth ever been 5D? Egypt came to mind. Like they
Yes.
understand how to like astral project. They understand how to tap into the higher realms. They understood how to like alter the laws of physics, with consciousness. So yeah, Yeshua,
Yeshua,
was a
exactly,
reminder.
Yeshua.
Was a reminder of such, right? And so I
Yes.
agree. I think people have turned it into such a very punishment, like, judgmental, like your sin. It's like, no, it's all about evolution. You don't want to stay stuck in density. There's more for you. That's his message. And I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
One of our Alma says Jesus was not married to Mary Magdalene. Well, what's your source, Alma? We talked to Mary this weekend. I'm amazed. I mean, honestly, you have to see it to believe it. I don't expect anyone to believe that this is happening. You got to see it for yourself to believe it, Alma. But when you hear, I mean, this weekend for me was so incredible in the sense it was Age of Aquarius. We heard from actual people.
Yeah.
The heaven and earth have merged now. We can talk to people, and yes, there are people who channel Yeshua directly as well, directly.
Well, and
But
there's
that
also
portal has opened.
There's a lot. If you go deeper, there's a lot of historians that actually have found like the lost scrolls, the lost books of the Bible that state such things.
Right.
There's a lost scroll of Christ where he talked about manifestation, right? They pulled that out, and there's other, I would say books. I've got the books too. I used to know this by heart back in the day. A book where it talks about astral projection, psychic abilities, manifestation, all of that Yeshua talked about that is removed, and so there's a lot. If you go deeper into the history of the text and those who studied the Bible, you'll find all these different resources that were taken out that say these things.
Totally.
I've never really. I've heard this before. I met Krista. Like I'm like, yeah, I heard somewhere like there was like a scroll or a written book that talked about the connection with Mary Magdalene and Christ, or So if you go deeper than just your traditional commercial religious preaching.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you guys study history, go study Constantine and what he did. That's it. Like there were several gospels. He cut down the Bible. He edited out all the gospels he didn't like. They hid him under the, they were on the Dead Sea Scrolls. We found scrolls that actually were the hidden scrolls. Why are they hidden? Because they would have been killed. The people have been found because they were illegal.
Again, right?
Because they told the truth. So the Bible was crafted. It's a manipulation technique from Constantine to religion Rome. Religion.
Right.
That's what a religion is. So
Well,
where it
this
comes
is
from.
almost saying nowhere in the Bible does it say they were married. We're not talking about the difference of King James, new NIV. We're talking about the lost scrolls, the lost texts by those who actually study the history of the Bible, right, and the scholars. So we're talking about that information that's been, kept secret in a sense, that's been coming to light. So
Totally, it was a controlled Rome. The Romans were like they're all having sex with each other and they're having their sisters' babies. Like it was effed up, and Constantine was like trying to bring order to a very immoral time. And so he got rid of the polytheism, like no more multiple gods, it's one God. Like it was a commander in chief that decided. Imagine Trump was like, okay, that's it. We're gonna have polytheism, and decided there's many gods. That's what it was. Their president, their emperor said, we're gonna have one God now because I said so. And you're gonna be dead if you don't follow it. And here, cut out all the parts of the Bible that open up to you being in charge of things. But the point is that Mary Magdalene spoke this week, and the reason I bring this up is because she feels that was the beginning of 5D. And that was that you have this light body, that you have this light body. And she talked about how her and Yeshua had to increase the power of his light body for him to be able. I also asked, did he rise from the dead? Did it really happen? And she says it depends on the timeline you choose to use. And she said there's far less people who believe that he didn't die. But she said her timeline is that he did die. And what you saw was him so strong in the light body because she said he and her had done all these rituals together as a couple, done all these rituals to strengthen his light body, and from that strength of his light body, he was able to basically rise his enlightenment. I mean, I think that's what ascension is. He ascended out of his body, and he was available as a light body for a period of time to meet her and talk to her in the garden. Blah blah blah. So
Chris is spot on. Everything Krista says is always like my truth meter is like ding 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 every time, even when she's channeling him in our discussion. So I believe that, And so, but yeah, there's so much more that's hidden that I think. And people were mentioning the Book of Enoch. That was the book that was removed as well. There's a couple other books too.
Megatron talked about the Book of Enoch.
Yes.
He was Enoch. That was him. He
Right.
said he incarnated as Enoch. That was him.
Right. Right. So, I mean, but that all talks about like the mystical powers that we all have. It's like, why
Right.
to me, it's like we have spirit, we're soul consciousness. Why are we forbidden to utilize our own abilities? Why is that forbidden? They don't deny it, they crucify it. Why is it forbidden for soul consciousness? So, I think we got to step outside. I think a lot of people, I studied the Bible as a kid. I was going to be a minister in training. I was in MIT. And so, and there's so many things I was studying, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like, what? So, it's, when you're using your intellect, you realize there's things that have been removed or interpreted in ways that just don't formulate how it was intended, and that comes from awareness, intuitive awareness. I'm shocked that people just hold on to a book, say, but this is the truth. It's like 100 years down the road, people saying the same thing about Harry Potter and the Lord of the Rings, but this is the truth. What's the difference? You know what I mean? It's like, it's the same thing. So how do you know, right? Right.
Yeah.
Oh, Mulak, whatever the guy's name is,
Well,
my princess.
I'm amazed. I don't know. My soul's this way. I'm amazed that people just assume that people are telling the truth. I'm amazed that you just assume, like, you never question once. Like, oh, sure,
Right.
yeah, sure, yeah. We've handed this this story down for 2,000 years, and we've kept it legit. And, you can't pass an email without it being corrupted. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you can't pay telephone without people screwing up the message. You mean to tell me
Right.
somehow it was an oral tradition that got written down correctly and then translated correctly, and we've got the truth? Come on, like,
And only certain people can access Yeshua. Because when I used to channel Yeshua, I was getting the information that I'm hearing, from him in my meditations. And so, like, I'm like, what I was told before I even saw the studies of such or other channelers, I was told the same thing in my channeling processes. So I'm going to write on a man to be the voice of Yeshua. I'm going to have Yeshua be the voice to me directly. So we all got to start doing that with whatever soul consciousness we want to tap into. I would say our own consciousness, be your own voice. Let the message come
100%.
through you.
Yes.
Some people rely on those external sources so much. The pastor, that's what he says. It's like, but the pastor's having an affair and having adultery and is gay and criticizes gay people. How are you going to take that person as valid? They're hypocrites, right? So,
That's the
anyways,
thing. I mean,
know-
once you, well, this all has to do with ascension, because this is what you're sending out. Ascension to me and 5D is, first of all, that
Yes.
you can
see through
rise
it.
above what is the current situation. You can rise
Exactly.
above it. That hummingbird is rising above it. Rising above it means, I don't know if I agree with anyone on earth. That's rising above it. Right? Now, when I say I don't agree, it's because everything inside me, my feelings, my heart, it's not my mind. I can't go there and tit-tat you with an argument, because your mind is not your intelligence. Your mind is basically a train station for ideas. That's all it is.
Right.
Your intelligence is your heart and your emotions. And so your heart has the riches of who you are. That's the expression of God creation in your heart. If your
Right.
heart tells you one thing and you let your mind talk you out of it, you're not ascending. You're descending. You're letting
That's
the
what
stupidest
sin
part of
is.
you rule your
Right.
life.
But that's what sin really is. It's like you're going against your natural order, your natural desires. I mean, that's what Armageddon is about. They went against their natural desires, which is soul consciousness, right? And so, yeah, that's what 5D is too. And another thing too that we can list different aspects of 5D. Like for me, is yes, one is seeing the truth, right? And you will understand. Like for me, like when you start opening your 5D awareness, you start feeling like you're not part of this earth. You feel alone. That's the side effect when you first open that up. But through my evolution, yes, like the psychic awareness went through the roof. Psychic awareness for the collectness went through the roof, right? More understanding of people and why they behave the way they do, and less judgment is 5D, right? And so then I can understand, like, well, I'm not really bothered by things because I understand everything has its purpose. I can sense the karmic cycles or see the karmic cycles with people and how it's meshing with the collective. So there's nothing to be upset about, right? So that's another effect of evolving into 5D consciousness. You're more objective and unaffected, actually, is what I always say. And I think that, you start recognizing where people are at, why they're at where they're at, and how we're mingling together in that collective. But that also, multidimensional awareness, psychic awareness, you could be telepathic, your empathetic abilities go through the roof. You can clear out your own karma, because when you clear out your own karma, you become the major manifester. That's why I used to talk against manifestation communities a lot, because I'm like, we got to resolve karma, then we can manifest. There's a process. So that's 5D. I was trying to speed that one.
Yeah, I agree. Going back to Unite the Light, I'm just so proud of us. I mean, the conscious living panel, the whole point of it is that if you are letting your body get poisoned by all these things,
Right.
like in the natural flavors, or they hide natural flavors, basically anything that's processed food is pretty much bad for you. Like if God didn't make it, it ain't good for you. Period.
Right.
And it has an agenda. I mean, I don't know if people know, but in the 70s, when they were prosecuting all the cigarette companies, there were all these experts who had found very, 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 what's the word? Addictive substances that they were putting into the cigarettes, right? And making cigarettes addictive. According to Mike Murphy, who was our channel panel expert on clean health, he had said that actually tobacco is not at all addictive, nor does it cause cancer.
No. Right.
Like American Indians weren't dying of cancer. Okay,
Right.
like there's that peace pipe. Why it would be called the peace pipe instead of death?
We love the peace pipe, I'll tell you that.
They sure
but,
did.
but, you know, even I watched a documentary on flavor chemists, right? With the
Yes,
natural flavors.
that's what happened.
They go through nature to like replicate the real taste of nature, and then
Right.
they amplify it because they actually said we want it to be more addicting.
Yes.
Right? They go back for more. It's a selling, feature just to buy more. So then the brain gets tricked to saying, well, that's what good tastes. And then when they go to eat the natural stuff, then like, this isn't strong enough for me. So, and that's where the health issues, But the good thing
100%.
is,
All the poison's in there.
right,
So
right.
after the 70s, they all went to the food industry.
Right.
All these experts for addiction.
Yes.
And they went into the flavorization. You hit it right on the head. The flavorization of food. It's like right now, I'm even thinking about Taco Bell, and I want to go eat it, and I know it's bad. But
Taco
just thinking
hell,
about it, I'm like, oh my god, Taco Bell.
That's Taco hell on the bat. But the thing is that
in the end.
the thing is that the good thing is when you detox from that stuff, right? Then you actually start having pleasure in the natural foods. And then like I've done that for so long that when I go back to that crap, it's like, it tastes like chemicals to me. It tastes like
Me too.
it puts you off, So that's a good thing if you do detox from that. It takes like 14 days to like clear your palate, they say. So
Yeah, it's pretty. The point is that stuff prevents ascension
yes.
because it keeps you focused
Yeah.
on your lower frequencies. It keeps you focused on your bowels. It kills,
Yeah.
like the glyphosate alone. Okay, we talked about that. Like glyphosate, which is sprayed on crops. This is Monsanto, which is owned by Bayer Aspirin, and Bayer Aspirin, by the way, was the ones that made the gas in the gas chambers for the Jews and killed the Jews. Like it was Bayer Aspirin that killed the Jewish people with the construction of the gas. Okay, this is how positive it is. They now own Monsanto, which sprays all of our crops with everything.
Yep.
After Agent Orange, they needed something to sell, so they started selling, glyphosate, and so anything non-organic is sprayed with glyphosate. That is GMO is actually GMO not because they want a greater yield, because actually once they're GMO seeds, they don't reproduce. They're like they can only do one crop, forcing us to buy seeds every year. But the point is the reason why you need GMO is because it will keep the glyphosate from killing the plant.
Right.
So it's just so mess. But all of this messes with your vibration, messes with your body signal, messes with your temple, your holy temple. And so that's I think that's what's holding back ascension more than anything is the fucking food.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, look at these because now when people are on their health kicks, they go to like the diet foods, right? The sugar-free stuff, and guess what the main component is? That aspartame, and aspartame is horrible for cognitive functions. It's linked to brain cancer, And so these are things that people are consuming. Oh, let me get the diet soda because I don't want the sugar. It's like I tell people, drink the sugar; it'll be better for you than the aspartame. So it's the dependency, and so they create a problem, then they create a solution, but they're both equally bad, and so we have to see through that, and so that's again 5D understanding. Yeah, your body is the temple, and if you're shitting in your temple, is it going to smell good? Is it going to function? Is it going to be clear? No. So stop shitting on your bodies.
Yeah, in America, Europe, go to Europe, guys. Go to Mexico. Okay,
different.
The food in Mexico is so good because it's not GMO American food. All you have to do is just step out of the country once and eat the food, and you'll be like, "Oh my god!" Vegetable, whatever. I mean, vegetables have flavor. It's just we're in a sad state of affairs in the United States. But the point is about the 5D. You ain't getting a 3.5D unless you change what you eat. You're not gonna go. You're just gonna keep descending. Your body's gonna keep feeling sick. The body's strict on so many things. It's not even funny. I mean, water's another thing. That's what came up as well. Water holds consciousness, y'all.
Yes, it
holds
does.
Conscious. You can program water. I mean, look at Dr. What's his name? Emoto's work, right?
Yep,
Dr.
Dr.
Emoto, he did this thing. He had 2 glasses of water, and one he was like, "I love you, water. You're my favorite water." He would just love it. And the other water he would hate. "I hate you, water. You are horrible." And they would freeze it, and he'd freeze the horrible water, and he'd freeze the good water or the happy water. The happy water looked like a beautiful snowflake. It's the way it crystallized. The other water looked like an ice cave of Darth Vader's. It was just like fucking crazy. And it's like that's because the water takes on the consciousness. Our water, okay, we poop in it, Then it gets chlorinated and recycled and brought back to the house. So that's not fun. And apparently what happens is when it's like hitting all these pipes and doing all these things, the water's going insane. Water has to be structured. It has to be structured. Structures that is like going down a creek, down a mountain, or you can swirl the water, but water has to be brought together with water in a structured way. And then it can actually penetrate into the cells, because unstructured water actually becomes a bigger molecule. Bigger molecules can't get in the cells, and therefore you can't hydrate. So we have a huge dehydration problem. This all came from Mike Mike this weekend. Huge hydration problem because the water is coming in recycled with chlorine and gone through a crazy maze of insanity.
Well, and again, and your body's made of water. So if you can affect even water to program what you're drinking, right? Just imagine the water when you're saying you're holding those negative thoughts and those very repressive thoughts, what it's doing to the water in your body. They also did that with plants too, plants and rice. They did the same thing, and the rice became moldy. The plant would die. Now the plant was flourishing. So I think with 5D and understanding that words hold an energy, and whatever energy you're holding is going to affect your bodies too, right? And so we have to understand we 5D is also understand the ability to program and to reprogram as well. And that's, many people may not be there, right? But some of us are there. We can reprogram our foods and reprogram certain energies in our body that we're putting in physically. So it's important as when you're in the 5D perspective that you're aware of such, and naturally, Christopher, we'll be gravitated to areas that support the food lifestyle that we need, and the water sources. Here, our tap comes from the Truckee River here, and it's not fluoridated. They've opted out here in Reno and the Truckee Meadows. They opted out to fluoridated water, so I get clear water from, that's not from the Truckee River, but it's from the Truckee River in the tap. Good water source. And so your soul will draw you to locations that you'll need to get the body also in alignment to your soul consciousness and the 5D perspective that you're in. So pay attention to those impulses.
We have to live clean, and we'll talk about that from our panel. We'll talk about that. So 5D, people don't realize. So back to our 5D consciousness, we are trapped, imprisoned, and there's deliberate conscious, not conspiracy, business plan. Yep. Okay, it's a business plan. It's not a conspiracy. It's a plan to make money. A business plan keeps us locked in these lower frequencies through food and all sorts of things. They say it's profiteering. I wish it could be that innocent. It's just wanting more money. It's not. It's actually a few families that own everything in the world, and I think a mandate from the top down. And ultimately, the dirty secret's out. We actually control reality. We actually can manifest miracles in our own hearts. We can make what used to be thinking is unreal real. I'll tell you, guys, when I started on this path, I did not channel. I did not have psychic ability. I did not have all these things that I now have, what I consider a superpower. You can't lie to me. I know in a second. I know I'm told you're going to lie to me before you even open your mouth. That's the kind of super awareness that we have at our fingertips if we just let go of the lower frequency. And if nothing else, if you don't know how to get there, love yourself every day.
Yeah, and people say, well, how do I love myself? I don't love myself. It's like, put love into it. Big difference. Put love into what you're doing. Put love into your food. Put love into your hygiene. Put love into things. Think of it in that context. It becomes easier because then you recognize, I haven't been putting love into my food. I haven't been putting love into my intuition, and so it's about putting love into it. And I think people get so distracted. I've been seeing when you say love yourself, like, but I don't know how to. I don't like the way I look in the mirror. It's like, put love into it. And that will resurrect the 5D consciousness, because then you'll be more in tune to what the soul wants. And love is an expansive energy. That's what positive energy is, expansive, evolving. So we have to make sure we're putting that on our bodies as well, and that awareness. But, again, I agree with you. It's not profiteering here, because why does Quaker Oats have the same it's the same product but different ingredients in Europe versus here, right? Red 40 is banned, right? That's banned, but they have like natural ingredients of why we have all the chemicals. Same company, same product, different ingredients. If it's profiteering and not an agenda, then why wouldn't it be the same across the board?
And tell me this, Batman. We have more ingredients in our American versions than the Europe versions. Wouldn't that make it more expensive to make, having more ingredients? So you're telling me you want to sell the more expensive one to make when you can make more money and higher profiteering by having less ingredients, less cost? And the fact that they sell one version of Europe and one version here tells you right there something's going down.
But I'm just thinking of all the costs it requires for these scientists and to do these flavor chemists and to fund their salaries instead of just getting the freaking raspberries and drying them out and freeze drying them. Hello, so no, I agree. There's it's more than just profiteering. When you reach that level of money, you create the power, the control at that point. So
this is a good moment for our commercial today. Actually, let's do a commercial and come back and give a couple of tips to get to 5D. But first, let's talk about conscious capitalism.
We were told the world works a certain way. Chase success, play the game, follow the rules. But what if the game is rigged? What if your power was never really lost, just misplaced? Soul Capitalist isn't just a book, it's a wake-up call, a roadmap for reclaiming your power and rewriting your story on your own terms. Because changing the world doesn't start with a movement, it starts with you. It starts with creating a world that reflects your highest self. Soul Capitalist is a guide back to your truth, a call to awaken your inner power and lead from the light within. Soul Capitalist, how to take back your power and change the world. Available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Yay! That's by Erica, and she works with us, not for us. Actually, it's volunteers. But she was also the panelist of Conscious Capitalism, and I swear I want to track that commercial and put it out myself too. I love that commercial, so well done. But Conscious Capitalism, again, if you were conscious, you wouldn't make a product hurts people. End of story. Sorry, but not sorry. So let's give a couple tips that will lead to 5D inevitably. Let's see, shake trade.
Well, we said one, self-love, but let's dissect that a little bit. So we got to put love into your body, put love into that, right? But also you need to start, I tell people you need to start considering your intuition. I don't care if you think you're making it up or not, you're making it all up. Considering your intuition, follow that road, follow that path. That will expand your intuitive awareness and you'll start seeing how things are connected. But in order to do so, you do have to put love into yourself to trust yourself. So it's simple in that regard, but consider the intuition would be my first point. What's your second point that you can add, Christopher?
I want to just add with self-love. Most people think self-love is a Manny and a Petty. It's not, okay?
Right.
Self-love is all inside you, nothing outside you. So self-love outside of you is the next wave of self-love, okay? The first wave is how you talk to yourself, what you say to yourself when you're feeling sad, what you say to yourself, the way you respond to yourself. Do you let yourself go in a bad mood? Do you let yourself stay in a bad mood for 2 hours? I call that sitting in a shitty diaper. You're letting your baby sit in a shitty diaper, sit there and be unhappy. If you let yourself be unhappy for more than 20 minutes, you're an asshole. Okay,
Literally.
You're an asshole to yourself. Why would you let yourself just feel bad for 2 hours? Why? Why would you let yourself do that? Oh, because you have to? No, you don't. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. Are you delirious by saying no? No, you're a wizard. If you say no, I'm going to feel happy. Instead, I'm going to take the bright side. I'm not going to even put time and energy into that dark thought. Then you are level. So I just want to make that point. I think another way to ascension. I agree. I think let me speak to your point two. Your point two was intuition. Listen to your intuition. Here's the thing, guys. When my psychic guides come in, my imagination draws the picture. My imagination. But when you go, I need a good idea for tonight, and this idea pops in, guess what? That's psychic. That wasn't your brain analyzing facts and figures. Your psychic side came up with that idea. All ideas come from your higher self, then your imagination draws it. So if anything comes in unrequested, it's probably from the other side. So you have to stand back. I agree with Scott. Stand back, take everything under consideration, start to see your spiritual pattern.
Yeah, I mean, because I said last year's Unite to Light, I said imagination has two forms, a receptivity and a creation. So it's all going to be from that imaginative space. And magi means God. So that's the God energy. So that's your source of receptivity. So yes, considering that. But also, in conjunction to that too, is understanding your path and not trying to fight your path. Understanding what your karmic themes are right now. And the repetitive themes, stop trying to get out of it and go through it. Understand that the themes and the challenges that you have right now are building you. Is actually morphing you to become more 5D. Don't resist it. So when you accept those challenges, I'm going to conquer this challenge emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. I'm going to see what it's telling me. You'll broaden your perspective immediately, and that'll also activate the intuition too, which give me more 5D perspective on life in itself and those who have similar challenges. So I would say always make sure you're not trying to just get over your challenges, but you're going through them.
I agree. I would say number 3 is live in the heart, not the mind. Your heart is who you are. It is your intelligence. If you don't love it, you're not it. That's it. Well, I don't love this. Then that's not who you are.
Yeah.
Right. And so you don't realize the mind is the dumbest part of you. The dumbest, the slowest. You have to Why is it so hard to memorize tests? Because it's a fucking dumb organ. It's very dumb. Okay. Most of my A's came from the fact that my heart remembered from spirit. I download the answer on the fly. I don't know where the answer came from, but I got straight A's. Okay. We're not meant to memorize everything. The mind is not. It's just a tool. So ultimately, what does that mean? Live in the heart. It means if your mind goes, I think I should go to the spa. You ask your heart, does my heart want to go to the spa? Because if it doesn't have the heart's endorsement, it's a 3D stupid idea. If it has the endorsement of your heart, it's a 5D idea. So we have to start living from a heart-centric point of view every day, every moment of all of your life.
And then to dovetail that, understand sometimes a heart needs simplicity too. Your heart isn't always going to be doing this majestic mariachi band type of entrances. Sometimes it'll say, yeah, you need a spa day today. Go nurture yourself. Take the time off. Sometimes your heart will be that simplistic. Follow it. A lot of people, when they're going for, to reach into their intuition, their heart, they're expecting this grandeur, type of revelation. It's like, no, sometimes the revelation is chill the fuck out. And honoring that, and the next path, or tip for me is like, stop being so judgmental.
Oh God.
Understand, judgment is a huge thing. More people just judge themselves too much. And then of course that extends to other people. And so don't judge yourself. We're all learning how to ride the bike, so to speak, in the game of life. So you're going to fall off, you're going to learn it and pick up back again. You don't call yourself stupid because you fell off the bike when you're a kid. You're like, no, I was learning it. You got comfortable and you moved on. So stop judging yourselves.
No, I had the anecdote to self-judgment, to judgment. You know what it is? 2 words. It's okay. It's okay. But you're a fat idiot. It's okay. You're not going anywhere. It's okay. 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 Everything's fucking okay. That's it. Everything is okay. Eventually, your judgmental side will be like, but you're a piranha. It's okay. As long as you just keep saying it's okay, you karate chop that down. Everything is okay because that's the nature of reality. It's okay. God doesn't care at all. At all. They don't care at all. No one cares. Only you. I agree.
It's all about the evolution. You're going to be here, and it's about getting here. So it's just the evolution process. So when you understand more of that, I think that's when the judgment, you lighten up. You become more encouraging to yourself and less judgmental.
Oh, totally. So. Yeah. I mean, when you become your own best friend, it's over. Yeah. Yep. I mean, what I've heard from the Ascended Masters, because I've studied them, and they have ascended Earth. They rose above it. They got out of prison. It's one simple word, and this came from actually Saint Germain, my fave, which is. And I asked a guy who challenged Saint Germain in one of my shows, and I said, "Did Germain ever tell you what it was that made him ascend at the last minute?" He goes, "Yes." He realized everything is just joy. That there's nothing but joy, nothing else, and that everything in life is joy. That means the point of that, the way I took that was, anything that's not joy is a figment of your imagination projected upon yourself. Universe, God, consciousness, heaven, it's just joy. That's what is. If life isn't enjoyable, you're not in what reality is. Reality is joy and only joy. Serious joy, matter of fact, for $3.99.
There you go, a month. And that'll give you more serious joy. And I agree, but let me just clarify too that some people think joy means they're jumping up and down, doing naked cartwheels all the time. It's like, no, joy is focus. Joy is also when you feel engaged with something, right? Even joy can mean when you're resolving karma. There's a joy of enlightening yourself too. So understand the dynamics of joy too. It's not just yay and getting happy all the time. It's a focus. It's an excitement that's also means that you're engaged. And so I have joy when I learn more about myself, and I have joy when I find out the shitty things I'm doing. I'm like, I got to do that. I got to expand from that. And there's joy in that because I understand there's more awareness and more power on the other end of that. So I think people shoot themselves and deprive themselves of joy because they can't find themselves to be giddy. It's that's not just joy. Joy is also focus and attentive and, self-considering. That's joy too.
Look at a baby. A baby hee hee. You're and the baby will fart. Everything is joy. A piece of poop. It's all joy. The baby's just enjoying every moment. You enjoy this, you enjoy that. You even the stinky, and you're laughing. Because the baby hasn't been brainwashed into thinking that life isn't joy. The baby knows it. except for like cramps and stuff. The baby doesn't enjoy that. So
No, or if they don't get fed, they don't like that either. So
right,
but here, can I say that too? We're gonna have things that we don't like, but the fact is, if you understand the process of like the dynamic of life, life is joyous. You'll allow yourself to be miserable and a little funky every now and then. Like, I'm just funky right now. I need to be funky, but it's an objectivity of joy. Like, I like sometimes I feel a little bitchy, and I learn from that. I'm like, okay, I love learning about that. So life can be joyful without putting this to judgment on how you're feeling. There's a dynamic of that.
Yeah, and in 5D, complete hell is
right.
It's just it becomes relative. So it's like what is complete hell now becomes meh.
It is what it is.
That's complete hell in 5D,
right?
Which is not joyful. So it's the whole spectrum, rises.
Exactly.
Happening. Yeah.
100%.
Well, friend, this has been something I've enjoyed. I think it's time for us to wrap up. Any last words?
No, I mean, I think we kind of like nailed it. I think that, right now people should understand their duality right now too. The duality of logic and intuition. Let's focus heavy on that. I've been trying to prepare people for this, shift, like you this big thing, your energy you're feeling in May, June, that I've been also feeling too. And I want people to be more discerning right now during this time. So focus on that discernment, consider that intuition. It's going to lead you into great places.
Yeah, I would say use a boundary, step 0, and mark everything you think as either intuitive or logical, and start paying attention to your thoughts. And start separating them, because when my psychic awareness opened up, not because I just became powerful overnight, it's because I realized, this is intuitive and this is logic. And once I knew intuitive, well, then I can recognize any intuitive thought coming in, anyone, and it's just like turn on like a light switch, my psychic ability.
Yep.
Like a light switch. Yep.
Yep.
So
and it's
all right,
almost like your thought process will become your intuition. It's almost you think what you read, basically. So it comes synonymous. That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, the mind is really here to observe, not talk. It's here to observe everything. That's all it is. It's a note taker. That's it.
That's right.
All right, enough wisdom for tonight, buddy. We're giving it away. Y'all, don't live a life of shift. Lead out loud.
Get loud.
We'll see you next week.
Good night, guys.
All right, so someone actually commented, like, we could hear you at backstage talking afterwards. I was like, that's part of the shtick.
I know. They've been saying that for many weeks. They thought that we were just like, saying things that were, top secret. I'm like, no, it's a shtick.
Yeah, caught on a hot mic.
Yeah, hot mic. Which I heard you fart on the hot mic.
What was that guy that was like, we went pee, he's like, yeah, I murdered them. And he got caught for it? That's crazy.
Was that your other personality?